Good morning, WLA family. Welcome to this morning's devotion, which will be based on Psalm 23. As a kid, I have to say that either I wasn't paying attention or I just wasn't very smart. Because I remember hearing the words of Psalm 23 and usually focusing on that whole valley of the shadow of death thing. It was pretty dark imagery, wasn't it? And maybe perfect for a time when the world seems to be spiraling into chaos and confusion because of this COVID-19 virus. That dark imagery isn't really what Psalm 23 is all about, however. Psalm 23 is called the Good Shepherd Psalm. And because we know the characteristics of a shepherd, we also know the comfort that psalm provides. But before we go to that comfort, let's take a look at a few things going on in the world around us right now. In a nearby Midwestern state, there is a study that shows that fear and violence are starting to invade homes all over that state. The people who are forced to stay at home absolutely can't handle this whole concept of isolation, of being alone, of being quarantined even with family. There's another study from the Domestic Violence Center of the United States which says that in the first 5 days of the COVID lockdown, they had over 700 phone calls to their hotline. In that hotline, people experienced fear, confusion, sadness, and again, isolation. You and I as Christians know better than that. You and I know that Psalm 23 tells us we don't live in isolation. Take a look at the characteristics of sheep. I've had many pastors over the years who have said that, sheep just aren't very bright. Sheep, well, they love to wander. And we often think of the parable of one sheep who wandered and the shepherd who ran looking for that one, leaving 99 sheep behind. I'm qualified to be a sheep. I sin. I embrace my sins. I have doubts. This whole COVID thing, the quarantine, I don't like not being in the classroom. And yet, because I know the characteristics of my shepherd, I also know that this will be something good. That God's kingdom has an end game, and it's for the good of the people who love Him, even the sheep who love to wander. What about that shepherd? I know his voice. Even though I wander, I know he's coming after me. And that shepherd ultimately, knowingly, took a path that led directly to Calvary. And there, the Good Shepherd gave up his life for his sheep. That's the picture of Psalm 23. Not the valley of the shadow of death, but a valley filled with sheep, protected by a good shepherd who has only our best interests and our ultimate heavenly goal in mind. On the wall to my right, you can see hanging the banner for WLA and its association schools for this year. You see that we have something connected here. We have a picture of Christ. And in the classroom, I always say, I love that picture because it looks like Jesus is just one of us. Like maybe he stepped off a softball diamond or something like that. He's not some old-timey shepherd who doesn't get what it's like to live in 2020. He knows exactly what's going on. And another important aspect of that picture would be these ribbons that hang there. Those ribbons represent the connections that we, the sheep, have to the shepherd. Those connections through prayer. Those connections through worship. Through silent meditation, where that shepherd reminds us, hey sheep, I've got this. I'd like to at this time read to you Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right paths for His name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for You're with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Uncertain times, no doubt. Scary things on the horizon, possibly. School shut down before any of us were ready for it. Definitely. But we know that our good shepherd hears our voice. He hears our cries for help, and he will be with us. Thank you, Lord, for being that good shepherd.